So when you've got position, you're putting weight on that shoulder and extending this out. So his kamae is broken. This is also good to keep him from punching you or stabbing you or whatever with anything that might be in his hand. So you're hanging weight on it, you know, as you move, you can eventually take him down or open him up for strikes. It's going to be the same thing like you had an overhook on him, right? Yeah. Whatever is the one hang that weight on him, that way anyway. This will also help like when you start to set up for throws. It's how you hang the weight onto him with your grips. Well, everybody remembers the drill where you like swim for position, right? Start over under. Yeah, there you go. Start over under, and then start trying to find positions to control, right? Taking angles. That's where this starts to make sense, where you start teaming with him. It buys you other things. You can play with the legs a little bit, but he's also trying to get his position too. Right? You're still also trying to get dominant position as well. So it's just, we're flowing and playing. Okay. So just warm up with that, nice and easy. When you've got your arms ready, get to his back, or you're in here, you know, duck under to the wrist side, or you know, a duck under to the underhook side. So, and getting to his back is kind of a method of escape. If you can't get to his back, then you want angle in such a way that you get sideways to him. Because it's easier for me to drive him and steer him forward than it is for him to defend sideways. Does that make sense? Like, because we're not really designed to walk sideways. Forward is the correct way. So, so keep those in mind of escaping the back, the strategy of it, and the strategy of, okay, I get a position, how do I create an angle to create opportunities? So a real basic way of thinking about it is like, this is a really nutshell version of posture, pressure, and possibilities. This is something, actually one of the SBG guys came up with it. And it's a pretty good way of thinking about it. But you might say position as well. Like, what's your position relative to the opponent, but then your posture, is your posture correct? Or is your posture kind of like, you know, messed up? And then you have pressure, and that's the energy, whether it's pressure by him or pressure by yourself, and then that creates opportunities for the techniques. You know, what strike you're going to throw, is there a lock, is there a throw, that sort of thing. Make sense? Yes, no? Okay. So overall strategy for the basic strategy for Kuniuchi is escape to his back, or at least get T-bone to him, so that you can now start throwing him and stuff. There's other things within that. It's not just that. That's just a really simple way of thinking about it. So that you can start putting weight and stuff on him. You won't always do that. Like, sometimes you might get your underhook here, and then you transition to a throw, and you're not really T-bone that in that time. You're facing the same direction, right? So, so real quick, just a basic drill. He reaches out, parry, chop the back of the elbow, throw his wrist as you pull this, and get to his back. Go to the other side, parry, cup, throw the wrist. You want to throw the wrist, that way he doesn't like get caught on you. Now this is fine if you know that's what you're going to do. You turn it to a lock, right? But if you want to get to his back, you start to get hung up here, you won't get to his back because he'll just turn because his arm's attached. So I find it's a little bit easier to throw the wrist to get it past you so that you can get around to his back and then maybe get a dominant position. So the drill, You need to step into him, like to cut him off, sorry, this way, so you get to his back. Or if you need to escape, step the other way. Change your level, look through the hole while you raise your elbow and push into him. That way you can start to take his back. So again, raise the elbow as you drop your level. Be careful about like leading with your head because you often get stuck. You have to really drop, really raise this up. If you got a good underhook, your elbow's already kind of high anyway. So then drop, turn, right, facing out, and then cut into it. If your head is on the other side for whatever reason, you haven't got the angle yet, you need to lift this up, or if he's got you, lift it up, drop your level, and then you use your back to pry it off the wrist release and get to the back. So duck under on either side. We got it. One other one that might happen is if he's got a frame here, I'm trying to get him, is to pass that. But you also duck at the same time so that you can clear it off your shoulder. Right? So here, I sink as I push, and then come in, and same result, get this back. Okay, so underhook side, wrist side, and frame. Three things. Give it a shot.
Can you show the wrist side?
Yeah. So if he's got it, the side you duck under on is wherever side your head is on. So if I'm already on this side, I'll go this side. But if I'm over here, you raise his wrist, or if you've got it, same thing. It doesn't matter who has to. Drop and cut back into him. So as you push with your shoulder into him, it makes him turn and give you his back, like naturally. So it's like what Rory Miller might call a golden move hit. Well, it's not quite golden because there's no damage involved, but it's putting you in a better position at the same time putting him in a worse position. So it's like really efficient. Okay. All right. So duck, look up and into the corner where you're driving. So if Kamai is, or if your posture is largely dependent on your spine, then you're setting your spine correct early so that you can drive through him. If you keep it kind of low, you kind of like do this, he might still be strong enough to get a lock on you. So it's like when you do dancing ganage, you shouldn't like look at it because you break your own spine. You have to keep yourself aligned right. Does that make sense? So as you go, as soon as you clear, you look, and it helps set your structure to be strong. Okay. Entering the clinch. So there's like a few different ways. One common way is you crash. Basically, you're both fighting and you end up colliding somewhere. Right? That's almost like happenstance. Or you can crash on purpose. So this should be really easy. You know, basically you just try and get one of those positions, get inside control, you know, where you're between his arms and his body. Like we're saying Monday, the barriers are the hands, the elbows, and the head. Right? If you get past those three things and you have access to their body, then you've got the dominant position. You know, and basically it's the opposite if you're trying to avoid them clinching with you. So this way, he's more moving in on me. So it might be like a punch, and you can play with ways to get that position. So as he's punching in, just a basic punch, you can parry, guard, and then you get some kind of position. Whether it's, you know, the split seatbelt type thing, or underhook, or just a body lock, I don't really care. You know, one more time. You might go to the outside and come in this way and get to the back. But basically just play with different ways of getting in. Just be mindful of the other weapons that he has available. It might, you know, be something like little headbutt in there as you get to position. Try it a few times with a straight punch. Try it a few times with like a haymaker. Right? Doesn't have to be a crazy haymaker. It can be just a semicircle because that'll change how you get in. Right? And just kind of let him come to you. I mean, you have to enter in a little bit, but it's more him trying to get in, and then suddenly he's got you. Right? Some kind of position. Make sense? Nothing crazy. Just looking at the openings. And then guarding yourself as you come in. So if he has that one punch, of not going, okay, I'm going to just walk around to his fist here. Right. So you enter in some way, guard as you come in, and then back to a good position. Right. Judo, the basic grip is a collar and around the elbow at the sleeve. So this can be this or this. Right? This can be that. Right? So it's really the same. It's just you're not relying on the clothing for your grips. You can still use the clothing for grips if it's something solid. Like I wouldn't. T-shirt's not that great. You can do stuff with a t-shirt, but there's a lot more give before you would actually start to move them. Whereas if you've got something thick, it starts happening pretty quick. So this being Alabama, and we wear t-shirts 3/4 of the year, right? So that's why I prefer as a basic than not using the clothing. But the clothing is still an option. Okay, so that's kind of crashing into them for a clinch entry. The next way is swimming, like pulling through. So maybe she's in a fighting position, and maybe I want to get in on her. So I've got to make sure I'm safe, just like I would with a punch. You know, I might come off to an angle, find new contact, and then swim this through until I get to a position. It might be, let's change here. Same idea, like if I put something out, her hand might come up, so that gives me the hand. And then maybe I come and get like a 2-on-1 on her arm until I can figure out, okay, what else can I get? Right? So play with, you can also like really, I try not to sling you too much. So you come through, sling this, and sling them around until you get position. So it's like doing luchadori as the position. Then you figure out what else you need to do. That's a fun one. Especially if they're a lot lighter, you tend to like sling. And then it can be off a strike that she throws, where I start to swim through somehow and get something. Right? So let me come here and still guard until I can get a grip, maybe go for a throw. But there's nothing wrong with like, however it happened, of grabbing a collar tie like this. You know, I've got my underhook and I've got a collar tie. And if I want to make, like, if you're really crazy bad, I can link them to make it more difficult. Boom. This might be the next thing. Right? So don't think of, like, collar tie is like, how do I get his head down? Whether you go out this way or inside, doesn't really matter. Like body lock could be front, side, or back. Side and back is better than front, but front is an option. So maybe think of it that way, that you're swimming to a specific position, just for the learning aspect. Later, it's like whatever it comes to. That makes sense? So maybe that'll focus a little bit and make it less off. Or less thinking like, how do I get in and say, okay, let me get to an underhook. Boom, there and there. Boom, both sides. Like, if he's in a specific position, okay, underhook this side. Okay, underhook on the other side. And then he can switch stances so I can practice it both on the other side again. Comfortable for him. And that's kind of how you want it to be for uke. Uke should always be a bit uncomfortable. There's one is you'll frustrate your opponent if it's ever real. the advantage, training advantage for Uke is he gets used to being uncomfortable. He gets comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, embrace the suck. Because then if he's caught in that position, he won't panic. He's like, I've been here 1,000 times, no big deal. I'll work myself out of it. Like, you get someone new who's never done nail welding before, and you get them in a bad position, it's pure panic. Because it's not necessarily like, it's only because they don't know what to do, right? And you figure out ways to make yourself heavy, and you obstruct their, put your chest in their face so they can't breathe as easy, right? You make it uncomfortable on purpose. So be mindful of the position. Once you get in, however you get in, maybe get a body lock, get the hips close, because you take all that space away. You create this big connection, like wherever I'm touching, I'm creating a connection. And that gives me more control of how I can move, right? But when I'm out here, I have almost no control. You can tell, right?
Yeah.
So you have to get really, it's Valentine's Day, get close to your partner. You have to get your hips in and your body in close so that you have some control. Right? So that's the whole thing, like, especially if you do something like Koshinage, you have to have that connection on your back so you can lift them up. If there's any space, you won't be able to throw them. You won't be able to throw them efficiently. It'll be muscling it and forcing it, instead of it just being a matter of picking them up. Always make yourself safe as you go in. So you might throw you might throw 1, 2 to get him either hitting or to get his guard up, because he doesn't want to be hit. Oh, there it is. And then everything's the same. Right? So strike your way in, and maybe play with different ways to do that. Is where do you want his guard to go? If you start to go where you want it down, because now I can swim through a little bit easier. Or you can go up so that you can get low and get access to his body. Where do you want his guard to start going? If he moves out of the way, like a great distance, then you don't try to close that gap. This would be more useful if you've got him starting to get him cornered against the wall or in a corner of a room where there's not a lot of space. Especially if you feel like you'll be better if you're in that close than staying out. Right? Or you're in a space that you don't have the option of keeping distance. Most people are not comfortable being this close with fighting because there is no space. Right? Most people, your average Joe bad guy is thinking headhunter, punch distance, maybe a little bit of grappling. So if you feel like that's the proper strategy, then you can try it. If you feel like the guy's a grappler, then maybe don't do this. Don't fight his game. Does that make sense? So anyway, play with how you can get his guard to go where you want to, depending on how you strike. Right? You might throw something, right? Boom, and then I've got 2-on-1. And this also is a 2-on-1. Musadori is a 2-on-1. It's just a mean one. Don't forget you can manipulate the legs too. And you get an extra strike. Okay, good for it. Let's do that. So just go this way. Check. Still get that strike. Right. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, hit the little bell button so you get notifications for the next video, and be sure to give a thumbs up and share it, like and comment. Thanks.